respected dignitaries on and off the dais, respected invitees from press and media, my dear colleagues and friends and one and all present here, a very good afternoon to you one and all. My name is Arthur Paul and I represent Apex Laboratories Private Limited. Through this press meet, we would like to announce that CLEVIRA has been approved by Government of India Ministry of Ayush for the treatment of mild to moderate COVID-19 as a supportive measure. As my colleague Mr. Rcvd already briefed the brief history of CLEVIRA when it was launched, the philosophy behind CLEVIRA, I would like to give some little more insight about the product and the journey so far. As we all know that during 2015 and 16, there were widespread cases of dengue outbreak in our country and many parts of the world, which led to mortality due to thrombocytopenia associated with these viral infections. As per Center for Disease Control in US, even today there are no specific treatment available for dengue cases like dengue, chikungunya and other viral infectious disease. That is wherein our managing director wanted to launch an antiviral drug based on herbal extract which can combat all the viral infectious diseases in our country and across the globe. That is the philosophy behind this product. That is wherein our R&D center came in, and then we extensively worked for 2 years, and in 2017 we launched this product. And as I mentioned, that CLEVIRA has 10 potent standardized extract. Many of them are antiviral in nature. Next slide. To name a few, we may all familiar with Carica papaya, which is nothing but papaya leaf extract, which is proven to be antiviral, as well as Carica papaya is excellent for reversing thrombocytopenia associated with viral infectious diseases. In most of the viral infectious diseases, the reason for mortality is thrombocytopenia. The platelet level goes down. Carica papaya is excellent in reversing thrombocytopenia. And Mallia azadarak, which is Mahanimba, which is again a bitter herb, which is known for its antiviral property. Andrographis faniculata colmake, which is very common in our country, known by each and every one of us, which is also having excellent antiviral property. And Tinospora cardifolia, also excellent antiviral in nature. All other herbal extracts, they complement these herbs, and they are possessing antiviral, antipyretic, analgesic, antioxidant, anti-inflammatory in nature. Next slide, please. Before, during, and after the development and launch of CLEVIRA, there has been extensive clinical trials have been carried out to elucidate the safety and efficacy of CLEVIRA in vitro models, in vivo models, and in silico models. That means in lab trials, as well as in animal model, as well as in human subjects. These are all the 6 clinical trials so far have been carried out on CLEVIRA. Next slide, please. The in vitro cytotoxicity study, which is a lab trial wherein which CLEVIRA is proven to be very effective as an antiviral, as because it has excellent antiviral activity against herpes simplex virus 1 and herpes simplex virus 2. But at the same time, CLEVIRA is safe on the host cell. The person who is consuming CLEVIRA is safe, but at the same time, CLEVIRA is lethal on virus cells. Next slide, please. In the acute toxicity study, which was carried out on visitor rats, CLEVIRA was administered for a period of 14 days. At the end of 14th day, the animal was sacrificed or necropsy was performed, and any histopathological changes in the vital organs, if any, has been noticed. And this subject acute toxicity study shows that CLEVIRA is very safe at the dose of 2000 mg per kg body weight, and which does not have any adverse drug reactions on the vital organs. Next slide, please. In the repeated dose toxicity study, again, CLEVIRA was administered for a period of 28 days, and at the end of 28th day, the animal was sacrificed and studied for any histopathological changes, and this trial proves that CLEVIRA is safe at the dose of 500 mg per kg body weight on a long-term use. These were all lab and as well as animal model studies. A phase 2 clinical study was carried out comprising cases of viral fever with thrombocytopenia and viral fever without thrombocytopenia, where dengue positive cases also enrolled for this study. That means CLEVIRA was given for all the viral fever of all etiologies. At the end of the study, we came to know that CLEVIRA is excellent in reversing thrombocytopenia within the normal range. And apart from that, CLEVIRA is having analgesic, antipyretic properties. And when I say that analgesic, CLEVIRA was excellent in reversing arthralgia, myalgia, and headache score as well. In most of these viral infections cases, where we normally notice body pain, joint pain, and headache, and so on. So CLEVIRA is excellent in relieving all these arthralgia, myalgia, and headache scores. And then again, CLEVIRA is also antipyretic, antiviral, and at the same time, it is very safe on renal and hepatic parameters. During these studies, CLEVIRA group, there is no significant adverse drug reactions noticed. These clinical trials we concluded in the month of September 2019, and it was successfully published in an international journal called International Journal of Innovative Research in Medical Sciences. So all this happened until September 2019, and then at the end of 2019, we started hearing news of COVID-19 from Wuhan, China, and subsequently in 2020 cases started reported in our country as well. During that time, we approached the government of Tamil Nadu to carry out a clinical trial to see that how CLEVIRA can be beneficial in mild to moderate COVID-19 cases. So Tamil Nadu government has approved for us to carry out a clinical trial in one of the leading government medical college hospital in Chennai, known as Omandurar Medical College Hospital. And a phase 3 clinical trial was carried out with 100 patients, dividing into 2 arms. 50 patients were given standard of care treatment along with CLEVIRA, and 50 patients were administered standard of care treatment. The treatment outcomes were very positive. Next stage, please. 86% of patients enrolled in the CLEVIRA group recovered on 5th day. Their all RT-PCR scores were negative. And all the 100% patients recovered on 10th day of treatment. Apart from that, next slide please. The mean recovery from all the signs and symptoms like breathlessness, fever, body pain, diarrhea, loss of smell, loss of taste, and their saturation, oxygen saturation level, everything become normal in a mean basis of 4 days. Apart from that, CLEVIRA is excellent in reversing or improving WBC and platelet count and lymphocyte count. At the same time, CLEVIRA is reducing neutrophils as well as AST and erythrocyte sedimentation rate. That is wherein we say that CLEVIRA is having immunomodulatory effect because it found to be useful in reversing WBC and lymphocyte count. And in the CLEVIRA group, there are no disease progression noticed. That means CLEVIRA is safe in elevating or preventing disease progression, and that too, reducing the mortality rate. And as per our previous clinical trials, CLEVIRA has proven to be very safe on liver and kidney parameters, and there are no adverse drug reactions, significant adverse drug reactions reported in the treatment group. Over and above, there is a compliance of 1 tablet twice daily dosage. So these trial outcomes were very positive, and the reports were submitted before ICMR and tabled before Ministry of Ayush for further evaluation and approval of a drug for the treatment of mild to moderate COVID-19. In the month of July 2020, we concluded all the trial and we submitted the report to all these agencies. And various stages of scrutiny has taken place at Ministry of Ayush and ICMR. And ICMR, found useful our report and the benefit of the drug, so they forwarded the trial reports to CCRAS, and subsequently the trial was forwarded to Interdisciplinary Technical Review Committee, a committee only constituted to evaluate all the clinical trials happen in the stream of Ayush medicine, to evaluate the benefit outcome and the outcome of the clinical trials. All these interdisciplinary technical committee was comprised of 12 technical experts from various fields of medicine. Doctors from modern medicines were there, neurologists were there, and regulators from CDSEO, DCJ were there, and interdisciplinary technical experts from all the Ayush stream of medicine practitioners also were there. So we gave a presentation twice before Interdisciplinary Technical Review Committee, and having found the significance of CLEVIRA and the outcome it offers, the Ministry of Ayush, Government of India finally approved our drug in the month of April 2021. That is wherein we are today here announcing the good news that CLEVIRA is whatever way it is supplemented in during second wave has benefited many patients, elevating their symptoms. So a question may arise, how a herbal drug scientifically act against SARS-CoV-2 virus. For that we have carried out a in silico docking study to see the probable mechanism of CLEVIRA on SARS-CoV-2 or COVID-19. Next slide please. For that to understand, I would like to give a brief about how a SARS-CoV-2 virus look like. The outer surface of SARS-CoV-2 virus, if you look at, there is a protein substrates are available on the surface as inside the SARS-CoV-2 virus. These protein substrates are responsible for the virus to infect a host cell and then after infecting, replicate inside the host cell. These viral substrate, protein substrates are called as viral spike protein or S protein, and other proteins are called like, papain-like protease or RNA-dependent RNA polymerase and main protease like substrates. Next slide, please. So when any person exposed to the COVID virus, the virus enters into the respiratory tract, wherein using the spike protein, it goes and binds to the host cell in the ACE2 receptor. You see here on the picture, the virus comes down and bind to the epithelial cell which is present in the respiratory tract. Using the viral spike protein of the virus get attached to the host cell. That is the passage through which it enters into the host cell and start to multiply using other protein substrates like RNA-dependent RNA polymerase, main protease, and papain-like protease. Next slide, please. So we see here the person when the moment he or she got exposed to the virus takes roughly 5 or plus or minus 2 days to incubate inside the host cell. And so that is the reason from the day 5 from the exposure, the patient start to show the symptoms. When the virus load start to build up, the body also produce the defense mechanism. If the virus load and defense mechanism is equal, a patient may get a mild symptom and recover faster. If the viral load start to build up but the defense is less, that is wherein the patient land up into moderate or severe cases, wherein which the cytokine rash or storm happens and the patients lead to mortality. Next slide, please. So our approach was to see that how CLEVIRA is effective in inhibiting these viral substrate proteins like viral spike protein and other proteins. Next slide, please. So 52 phytoconstituents of CLEVIRA has been identified and were docked against all the 4 protein substrates of SARS-CoV-2. Next slide, please. So we found that 18 phytoconstituents which is present in CLEVIRA is having excellent inhibitory effect on viral spike protein and other proteins. That is why we say that CLEVIRA is even excellent as a prophylactic measure and as well as treatment, because CLEVIRA is excellent in inhibiting SARS-CoV-2 in the spike protein. That is where the starting point of infectivity, and for replication all 3 protein substrates are responsible, and the phytoconstituents which is present in CLEVIRA is excellent in inhibiting all these viral spike other proteins. So why CLEVIRA? Why we strongly recommend CLEVIRA for the treatment of mild to moderate COVID-19? Because this is an antiviral drug already approved by Ministry of Ayush, which was launched in the year 2017, was available in Indian market as an antiviral drug. It's a broad spectrum antiviral drug. Apart from that, CLEVIRA is excellent as an analgesic, antipyretic, and excellent in reversing thrombocytopenia. And now, based on the phase 3 clinical trial, CLEVIRA is again approved for the treatment of mild to moderate COVID-19 as a supportive measure. And CLEVIRA is also again cost effective. The cost of therapy for the entire therapy is less than 500 rupees. Each tablet of CLEVIRA is costing only 11 rupees. So it is very, very cost effective for a country like us. And apart from that, it is having a convenience of 1 tablet twice daily dosage, and it has excellent proven safety profile. It can be co-prescribed with patients of other comorbidity conditions. And CLEVIRA is also safe for kids about 2 years. Next slide, please. So as I mentioned, that CLEVIRA can be given as a prophylactic for frontline workers, those who are in the primary contact of COVID positive cases, and those who are all working in the frontline like media people and police personnel and so on can be given as a prophylactic measure. As a prophylactic, a patient has to take CLEVIRA 1 tablet twice daily for 5 days after food. And as a treatment, along with the other medication, CLEVIRA has to be given 1 tablet twice daily for 14 days after food. As I mentioned, CLEVIRA is safe for pediatric use also about 2 years. So for 2 to 5 years, it was like 2.5 ml twice daily for 5 days as a prophylactic measure and for 14 days as a treatment. And from the age group of 6 to 12 years, it is 5 ml BD after food. I think the good news is here. One more weapon has been given in the hands of the frontline workers, the healthcare fraternity, to fight against this evil. I think through you, media people, I think the good news will reach to all medicos and all the frontline workers, healthcare workers, and the news will spread to the public also. Everybody is panicked out of, anticipating the third wave. I think the good news is here. Please spread the good news. And we are also, as a social responsible pharmaceutical company, excited to taking this news to you. So thank you all for once again for patient listening. Thank you so much.